Hello, everyone. I am Tina Banks here with Burrow's Best Podcast, and today I have the pleasure of speaking to Meagan and Garrett of the Rolling Monkey. Thanks, you guys, for meeting with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Most definitely. So, Meagan, just tell us a little bit about who you all are and what you do.
So my husband and I started Rolling Monkey in 2017. We didn't open until 2018. Lots of research and development during that year, but I'm 30, hanging on to 30 as long as I can. We graduated from Georgia Southern 2013 and 2014. Mm-hmm. So I graduated with a degree in special education. I taught in Effingham for 4 years. Absolutely loved it. Definitely have a passion for people with special needs, and people in general. People are my passion.
It's much needed. It really is.
It was hard to pull away from the school. It was really hard, but God's got me on the right path still. So, but I actually grew up in California. So yes, a long way.
Tell us the story. What brought you here?
Don't ask Garrett that story. He has his own version. But
I get in trouble for telling it.
I had cousins that went to Georgia Southern, and at 18 years old, what did I have to lose moving across the country?
Wow. By yourself?
My family's still in California. I do have some family here in Camden County, actually, where Garrett's from. But I figured that I would move to Georgia Southern, get my degree in teaching, and then move home. And you know what happens when you make plans? God says, haha. So we actually started dating 3 days after I moved to Statesboro.
No way.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
I know.
A new place and then a new boyfriend?
Yes. So we've been together ever since 2010. And Garrett graduated. Well, I guess you can kind of talk to.
You sure? You got me. You did a great job.
He graduated with a degree in civil engineering. And so actually never took a job in civil. He went straight into lean manufacturing engineering at Mitsubishi Hitachi Power Systems in Pooler. Was there for a few years, and then moved over to Koyo in Sylvania as a supervisor.
Yeah, process improvement supervisor. Just working on just processes, managing, optimizing flow, and really looking at the whole value stream of a business. So really allowed me to have a good insight into what is business and how the business is run, which kind of feeds into Rolling Monkey and some of the reasons as to why we're here. But yeah.
So tell us, you're the visionary of Rolling Monkey. How did that idea come about?
It wasn't clear at first. It started with wanting to solve a problem. A couple of different problems collectively, and really it started with Meagan and I, and what did we really want to do? And there came a point, probably 5 years ago, where we kind of looked at, is this it? She's got the job, I've got the job, we've got the house, we've got the family, but yet something felt as though it was missing. Yeah. And I really started digging deep, doing a lot of research, and come to find out that, the way that I went about it was reverse engineering. That's kind of how I've always done things. Is okay. What, instead of reinventing the wheel, what is the best already out there? And so I looked at it from an evolutionary standpoint of the longest living people in the world. I read through the Bible a couple of times, and that's a lot to digest. So
it is.
That was
just one time, Garrett, is a lot. You said a couple.
Yeah. It was. I went through the Old and New Testament, and I think it was right over 2 months. I was trying to hit 2 months, but just put it on audiobook. We were driving quite a bit, and I just put it on audio and go through it. But I've now kind of slowed down and not tried to rush through it so quick, and really spent a lot of time because there's so much to unpack within one verse. So, no more speed reading for me. Is really trying to meditate on the Word. But looking at those resources, and then what kind of made it easy for me was this little small region in Japan. So Meagan told you I work for two Japanese companies, and I spent a lot of time with individuals from Japan, and they turned me on to this little small region in Japan called, I think they're the Okinawans, and on average they live 7 years longer than the next longest living people in the world. So centenarians of, I think, like on average 112 years of age.
No
and so
way.
From a biological perspective, I was like, these people are doing something right. And then I wasn't the only one that thought this was interesting. Around that time, I think a group of scientists and researchers went in and they wrote a book about this group. And when they distilled it down, what it really came down to was they did something they loved, something that gave back to the community, and then something that they got compensated so they could put food on the table, and something that they were good at, that skill, that pride. And that's what then really was like, okay, do we love what we're doing? Are we giving back? We checked ourselves against those 4 things. And for me, I was good at what I did, and I got paid very well for it. And the overlap between that is what's known as profession.
Yes.
So just kind of how let's say, the way I grew up and kind of the environment I grew up, just say capitalism, the United States and the university model is really good at ensuring that we're good at something and we can get paid for it.
Right.
Profession. But the particular thing that I think that I was lacking was the love and giving back, more so the giving back. I loved my job, but kind of on a scale from 1 to 10, it might have been a 5, a 6, maybe a 7 at points. But the giving back aspect is, I think, what I was really lacking. And if you're lacking the love aspect in time, what that equates to is emptiness. And if you're lacking the giving back aspect, that equates to feeling useless. And both of those are midlife crises waiting to happen. And so I think that's what I started to feel, is to get a sense of, okay, I've got everything that I should have, but something still feels missing. And so that investigation that Meagan and I started to do, we then started to ask those kind of deeper questions and look at, okay, what are we lacking here? And with Meagan, she loved her job. Love was like at 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Giving back was up there. She was a teacher, so she wasn't getting paid. But that's really not the thing. The money was good. I was an engineer, she was a teacher. We had everything we need, and she was good at it and such. But with her, it was like we could give back more. So she was able to give back to a class of her classes were smaller since it's special ed, but 15, 20 kids a year.
Right.
But then, with me trying to solve my problem of finding something that I could give back versus just handing over a project to, say, GM or Ford. Those were our customers for those larger companies. And, she would work on something and then I'd receive that pat on the back or good job every 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's a lot different than receiving a big smile from a little kid every day.
It doesn't compare.
It doesn't compare. And that's what really put us on the search for what is our ikigai, because that's what the Japanese call it. Ikigai means reason for being. And that was probably the biggest aspect of it, is kind of the foundational piece of, are we doing those right things? And the beautiful thing is that model aligned with my man Jesus, because I believe that he is the wisest. He's God in the flesh.
Yes.
And so when he says love and give back, right? I believe in that, and this aligned with that. So in a sense, science supported what the Scripture had said, but the Bible was very complex. This was a lot more simple. So it became kind of our gauge to ask, what else can we do to meet this criteria of loving, giving, getting paid, and being good at what we're doing. And so we then started to spend a lot of time asking those questions of what business model fits. And then I'll let Meagan speak to how we came across the business model to kind of plug into that.
We were planning our wedding, and our wedding planner introduced us to rolled ice cream. He said, there's this place, you have to go check it out. I mean, it's December and the line is wrapped around the building, and we went and checked it out. And
where was this?
In Savannah.
Okay.
And this was in 2016. And what we saw was the potential of a concept that could meet all of those quadrants. So really, with rolled ice cream, it's not, what flavor would you like? here you go, have a nice day.
Exactly.
It's a whole experience. I mean, you think about going to somewhere like Shogun's. You can get the same food sitting at a table in the other room, but why not sit at the fun hibachi table with the chef who's flipping the spatula and you're catching shrimp in your mouth or your hat or whatever it is. It's a whole experience. And to bring an ice cream experience to the community of Statesboro, where we fell in love, was just so special for both of us.
And what an experience it is. You know, I've gone there several times, and it's not the same. You know, I mean, it's the same type of atmosphere and culture, but it's a different person. It's a different personality. There's different sets of questions that they ask. You know, there's the flavor of the day. So tell me how you guys came up with the name for Rolling Monkey.
You want me to do it? Yeah. Okay. So Connor, our son, when he was little, so he's 14 now. So glad he's not here because I'd probably get in trouble for telling the story.
Tell away.
Yes.
Don't watch this episode,
Connor, you're not allowed to watch. No, but when he was younger, especially, he was always our little monkey man. That was our nickname for him. Monkey man, they would monkey around. Garrett and Connor both do a very realistic monkey call.
Let me hear it, Garrett. No, you don't have to. And Connor does that too?
Yes. So, but like...
We do it at Walmart.
Oh my goodness. Megan, where do you hide?
It's even worse when I'm driving and they both decide to get in the floorboard and the windows are down and we're at a stoplight and they do it. And people are just looking at me and I'm like, I'm going to smack both of y'all once this car gets going. But yeah, so that's always been his nickname. Now, Rolling Monkey actually did not start with the name Rolling Monkey.
Really?
We originally had drawn up the plan under the name Cold Rolled Creamery. CRC, that's Connor's initials, Connor Riley Clark. So we knew we always wanted to center around Connor. We wanted him to be a part of it because as a child, your parents are the coolest if they own an ice cream store.
That's right.
So
the coolest.
So that was going to be the name. But the idea and the concept, I mean, you've been to Rolling Monkey, like Cold Rolled Creamery, the name just didn't fit the concept and the vision that we had for the company. And so that was hard because we knew we wanted it to be about Connor. He was so excited that he was going to have an ice cream store named after him, that to be faced with that hard reality of, at the end of the day, this is a business and we do want to make it fun and exciting through and through. Not just the taste and the quality of the ice cream, not just the showmanship of the artisans, but the name needs to draw people in too. So we sat down as a family and we said, okay, how can we still meet those needs of it's named after Connor, it ties back to our family, but it still be something that draws people in. And so Rolling Monkey. We brainstormed different names and different versions of how we would include monkey in the name, and Rolling Monkey is ultimately what we decided on.
And it's so fitting. Rolling, it's rolled ice cream. Monkey, that's Connor.
And he has a name tag, so when he works in the store, his name tag says Connor the monkey. And it's so funny because that's the first thing when we get there, the first thing he does is put his name tag on.
So can he do it? Like, what is the training that's involved to learn how to actually roll this ice cream?
So we actually had the opportunity to work in 2 rolled ice cream stores before we opened Rolling Monkey. One in Utah and then one in Kentucky. And that's where we learned how to roll ice cream. And then we purchased our very first ice cream machine, and it was actually delivered the day before Connor's 10th birthday. Wow. So instead of cake, we had rolled ice cream.
What a perfect present.
At his party. And so after the party, he had a couple of his friends stay the night. And so we taught them how to make ice cream.
So it isn't that hard, huh? I don't know. There's a trick to it because I watched them. Yeah. 10-year-old, that's kind of, if 10-year-olds can do it, anybody can do it. But
they're good at everything.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're clever.
With our team members, we train them for 3 days. But once you really get the hang of it, I mean, it's just becomes second nature to where they can just hold eye contact and talk with you. Because
that's what I was going to say. They really have to know what they're doing because they're holding conversations. They're asking about our day. So I'm just looking at, how are you doing this? And
they're writing upside down.
Yeah, they're writing upside down. How are you doing this and holding a full conversation with me? That's a talent there.
Yeah, so Connor actually has done some training. He's trained a few different of our artisans, which that was so exciting to have him walking, a much bigger kid, because
Yeah.
most of our artisans are college students and high schoolers. But for him, little guy sitting there pushing out those rolls, he felt like a boss.
I bet.
He felt like a big
and he
man.
He is now.
Yeah. But it's easier or harder than Meagan makes it out to be, because a lot of people, we do spirit nights now where we have celebrity rollers. So whether it be a principal of the school, so we got the celebrity coming in, and
It's so funny to watch them.
but they grab that spatula and they, hold on, Meagan, I didn't realize that it was this hard. And
They make it look so easy.
but she's great at training, and she can bring them up to speed like that. So it does take an hour or two, and then they can just start putting them out.
You're right. I mean, I tell this story all the time because people ask me, oh, you must have gone to school for business. And it's like, I am so glad that I went to school for teaching, because I don't think that I would have learned the compassion and empathy that I learned being a teacher to be able to run a team of young adults. I really don't. And so the training elements, like, that's me back in my teaching element.
That's where it came from.
And I love it.
Awesome. So what has been your proudest accomplishment in business so far?
Just one?
One or two or three or four?
Yeah. For me, I guess we could answer maybe individually. For me, my most proud accomplishment has been the culture, the team that we've developed. Something I don't know that Garrett mentioned in kind of his vision and how we started the company was really looking at, when I was in school, I worked at Starbucks here in Statesboro. Garrett worked at Lowe's, both fine part-time jobs. But all I did was make coffee and talk to customers. And here I was in school, super inquisitive and curious, loved, passionate about what I was doing. Never had the opportunity to bring that into, it was separate. I went to school and then I worked. And so what we really aim to do with our culture is, if I hire you and I know you're interested in these things, well, how can we tie your passions and interests into the business? How can we help give you a platform to express that passion or creativity or interest or inspiration, to then leverage a real world business to have that experience that you're not going to get at the university level yet. I mean, yes, once I got to student teaching, that was all I was doing. But as I was going through these classes and learning, I'll have amazing team members who are great and skilled in so many things, whether it's their passion and hobby and they're not going to school for it, or they're actually fulfilling their dream and going to school for something that they love. So I would say the culture and the team that we've built, we have an awesome team. I mean, it's like a family.
Yeah, and you can tell it's not just a job that they come to. They're coming home. They're not going to work. They're coming home to family. That's how it feels.
Yes.
And Garrett talked about giving back. We built Rolling Monkey with the intention of giving back to the community. We never had anticipated that we could have been giving back to our team as much as we have. I mean, so many people, young people, are at this pivotal point in their lives, and there's so much that's going on in the world right now, especially through COVID and the pandemic, that they look to us as mentors, as parents away from their home, that to really help guide them, and to know that God has gifted us with so many amazing young people and has put them, in our lives to help inspire them however we can. That's been another thing too that's really been great.
Yeah, I would definitely second that. I mean, culture, it's about the people. And I kind of got distracted from the initial story, but around the vision, to tie back to that, to Meagan's point, is as I was working for those companies, and I had the ability to look at the whole value stream, from ordering the product all the way to shipping the product out. I was responsible for mapping that out and then determining, where are we going to send resources and money? Where does that go? Where's the bottleneck in the process? And what I really started to come to is the people. If we could, because the people are the greatest asset of any company. And if we realize that and make that a priority, we can really unlock some big potential. And so I started to get some really big wins under my belt within these large companies, with focusing on the people side of things. And the Japanese within Lean really comes from Toyota. There's what they call the 8 deadly waste. And the 8th deadly waste is untapped potential, underutilized talent. So the Japanese recognize this, and it's a part of the DNA of their culture. So, I really was aware of this from kind of a study perspective and application perspective. And it became a big interest of mine. I'm a very system-oriented guy, and about this point in time, I became very interested in the mind, looking at the architecture of the mind and how does it work, and then looking into just beyond neurology was psychology, which is more subjective and very, wow. And then I started looking at cultures, collective minds, and how did they work together. And it coupled together with my kind of hobby interest, kind of offline, and then bringing that into, well, it works with the thing that I'm doing with these companies. And so it was all about people. How do we tap into the potential of the people that Meagan spoke to?
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of one of the problems that we wanted to solve with Rollin' Monkey. I was able to have impact there, but in these larger Fortune 500 companies, they're very stagnant, and they have to be, because if they're too quick to move, it could collapse.
Yeah.
So I'm a quick moving guy. I like to just go. And so it wasn't quite at the pace that I wanted to move at. So it was in like, what? We're going to build our own value stream. We're going to build our own business. And we're going to implement these theories and ideas in our own way. And so that really became a big part of it, is tapping into the untapped potential. And how do we unlock people to become their best self? That is, become intrinsically motivated. Not be driven by the carrot, aka dollar, because that only sustains for a period of time, and then I need more, and then it's always chasing okay, if there's a carrot bigger here, I'm going there.
That's right.
But if you can cultivate an environment to where it supports those 4 needs, then you've really got something there. And it goes into a deeper problem of solving the kind of meaning crisis that we're in. So many people aren't aware of it, but we're currently in a meaning crisis where we're lacking something of substance, something deep, something of purpose. That at most places I go to purchase whatever, to interact with whatever business, it's transactional. It's most individuals are there for the money, and they can't wait to get off to go do something else. That I can't wait to get out of work.
Oh, true.
So you have so many people doing that, but the vast majority of our day is at work. So the vast majority of our lives, we're slaves to something we don't want to do because we're more focused about that dollar.
That's so true.
And for me, that was like, how can we change that? And really what we want to do is we want to change the way that businesses do business by unlocking the potential in people. And we want to be an example. And we want to collaborate with other businesses that are doing that. And it's by helping to first understand that people are the first priority, first and foremost, before the systems, before all of the other things of business. People.
Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
Right. Oh, goodness. Yes, people. People first. Put that as the priority before anything else. And if you do that, if you have the faith in that, it may seem counterintuitive, but if you invest in those people, the return will come, because those people will step up and rise, and they will solve problems with you.
Yes.
And if you can tap into that, then it has an amazing impact on the community, because not only are we talking about 20 individuals at Rollin' Monkey, we're talking about thousands of people that we interact with in a week.
Yeah.
So when people come through, instead of having those interactions and leaving kind of defeated because someone just threw their change at them and said, whatever, just sure, the scripted, thing that whatever's coming down from the corporate, but they're not really about that. We want for people to be elevated. We want to inspire people who inspire the world.
There you go.
And if people are coming through and we as leaders can invest in our employees so our employees can invest in our community, then we're really doing something. And then if other businesses can look at us as an example and realize it's all about the win-win. It's really what we're trying to bring to the table. That is fulfillment and return on investment. Because if your people are fulfilled, they're going to be happier, and they're going to work harder. So why are the businesses not realizing this and tapping into the potential potential of their people so they can get that ROI that most businesses are chasing. It's that dollar. But why not have fulfilled people within our communities loving their jobs and doing a better job? Right? It's the win-win.
It's the win-win.
And that's it. That's what we want to do.
That's it. So what do you all look for when you start to hire new artisans?
People who love serving people. If you don't love serving people, this is not the team for you. And that's okay. Everybody has their interests, but we are very selective in who we hire. I mean, you have to walk in that door and elevate not only the customers, but your team too. I mean, I do not tolerate drama or gossip, and I am so thankful to say that we don't have that. I don't have to worry about that, because I know that if somebody has a bad day and they walk into a team who is hyped from rolling ice cream and they say, gosh, that test was really hard, it's okay, hop on this line, I'll beat you at rolling ice cream, we can race. Like,
exactly.
They elevate each other, and it just continues. And so then I bring somebody in, and then it just builds and it builds, and we don't always get it right. People are so dynamic, but we try really hard to find the people that, and I say it in the interview, I want you to want to be here just as much as I want you to be here. So I'm going to take you through this interview. We're going to practice rolling ice cream. And if this isn't for you, that's okay. I hope you still are a customer.
Exactly. At the end of the day, that's it.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone that may be looking to get into this industry, or just maybe a small business?
You better love it.
You better.
You better love anything that you do. You better love it, because the devil and the naysayers are there, and they are loud. And sometimes it's from inside of us, right? The doubt and the fear can creep in. But I'll just give you an example. So right when COVID hit and the stay-at-home order, and we transitioned to only curbside, I mean, fear overtook me. And I was in my head about things. I'm in the back office, and I look out we have a security system in my office, and I look up at the cameras, and I see 5 team members who are not on the clock, who didn't even work that day, who all came up to the store, brought their computers, and are all working on marketing, things how they can drive business into my business. And I mean, I just chilled, started crying. I mean, because I'm just like, wow, what Garrett talks about, that investment, because business owners will look at us all the time. You're spending money on these part-time team members who are going to be in and out within 2 years. Yes, we are. And I'm like, this is why. This is why, because it's their business too. Yeah. They're bought in, just like Garrett said, and they care, and they look at us and go, okay, this is mom and dad's company. How can we help them? So if you're going to start a small business, you better love it. You better love it, because you're going to have days that are really hard and really challenging, and those thoughts of doubt and fear are going to creep in, and you have to stand firm on your pillar of, I am in the right place right now.
The right place at the right time with the right people.